Now, there's a few things that I learned really, really well back in school. Is not to lie or lie to someone that later on down the line they'll meet each other. You know what I mean? Because this this story time came back around and bit me in the butt so hard, and it was so embarrassing to me. So what had happened was, I'm gonna give y'all a little time period of what happened then. When this happened, right? This story takes place from, I would say, the 8th grade to the 10th grade. That's how long I was lying, right? So I'm sitting there. Y'all remember the dude I told y'all about that I had it out with, that our friendship with the craft, he stayed in our apartments, right? We were kind of mending our friendship back together. I was going back over to his house. We were sitting there playing the Nintendo Wii and stuff, and we was just playing the PlayStation and all that. And I told him it was summer break. It started over summer break. Now, as I always told y'all, I was trying to talk to plenty of girls back in school, but at the same time, I wasn't having any luck with them. One of them I was trying to change my clothing and stuff because she liked bad boys and all that. And another one, a dude took her from me, right? But it was this one white girl that I almost had, but she was real pretty, really pretty white girl. But this girl in general, I'm not gonna say her name, but I know she watching the video right now. Hey, how you doing? It's been a while. I hope you're doing all right. So anyway, we're gonna give her a fake name. Her fake name is gonna be Nicole, right? Nicole, she went to middle school with me, and if I have to say, if I remember well, Nicole was somewhere on the higher end of the spectrum than me, because she was kind of sitting around the popular girls and stuff. Now, the popular girls consist of all the prettiest girls almost in the school when we was in middle school and kind of high school, but that's kind of when I got caught in that lie, basically. So what had happened was, I was trying to talk to her. She would be blowing me off with it, like, boy, you better get on somewhere, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, I got to step on my game. I said, she kind of playing hard to get, whatever, right? But to my pubescent mind, I'm like, okay, she just trying to play hard to get whatever. She didn't like me at all. That's where it didn't go through my head. This chick probably didn't like me at all, right? So I went, it was the last day of school, whatever, right? And I was sitting there. I went home. I'm like, man, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her eventually, whatever, right? It was a few times. I remember one time I asked her to. We had a dance going on at our school, and I was nervous. They were like, man, just ask her to the dance, bro. Just ask her, man. I'm like, all right. I wrote it on my phone. I said, hey, y'all, pass that up to Nicole. I was scared my phone might have got stolen, but it didn't. It reached her, and then they was like, all right. Phone came back. I put it beside me. They said, man, you need to flip that phone over and see what she said. I looked over. I flipped the phone over, right? I wrote on the phone. I said, will you go to the dance with me? And then my phone came back to me, and then it said H no. I'm like, okay, golly, all right. I got to change my tactics, whatever. I was doing everything in the book to get this chick. Everything, but nothing was working. Like I said, if a chick is gonna like y'all, she's gonna like y'all for who she is. And she was throwing me every sign in the book, and I wasn't reading none of the bull crap. So fast forward, it's the last day of school, right? That happened a few months ago. And so I finally go home, and I'm chilling with the homie that I'm into my friendship with after all the bull crap happened, right? I think he at least like maybe a year or two younger than me. I forgot how old he was, but we was going over there. He had the Nintendo Wii. We'll be playing the Nintendo Wii Sports, and he finally got a PlayStation, whatever, right? And I told him, I'm like, yeah, man. I was sitting there. I wanted to make him jealous because he was dating this chick that he got to this chick, I think, that I was about to, do it with, whatever, right? But I wasn't mad at him then, but I was just kind of, I want to make him jealous, just to let him know I can get a girlfriend too. I told him, I'm like, yeah, man, did you know I got a girlfriend? He was like, what, for real? I'm like, yeah. He said, how come you never talked about her? I said, well, we ain't been talking to each other for a few months and stuff. He was like, yeah, that's understandable. But he said, what's her name? I told her her name, right? He was like, oh, okay, that's cool, man, that's cool. He said, how old is she? I looked, I said, I think she my age, basically. I told him, like, okay, that's what's up. I said, you better not be trying to steal her from me, whatever, right? He said, man, I'm not, he said, how am I gonna do that, man? And I went on ahead and lied and stuff, right? I told him, I said, yeah, man. I said, the other day, I said, I went over, I said, actually, I walked out the house and we was sitting outside talking to each other for 2 hours, right? I'm sitting there just lying my butt off to this dude. I'm like, yeah, he ain't never gonna meet her, right? I'm just sitting there lying and lying and lying. I'm like, yeah. And one day, I think I went up to DC and I came back. He didn't know where I was for like a few months, whatever. He said, hey, bro, he said, where you been? After, it was the end of the summer, sometime in August when school was starting back. He was calling me while I was up there, seeing how I was doing this stuff. Because we, you know, just mend up your friendship, whatever. I said, yeah, man. I said, it's been going good. He said, where you been? I said, I've been up to DC. I said, I just came back from seeing Nicole, whatever, right? He was like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, my mother, she let me go over there. I just stood over there for a bit. And I said, I got my first kiss from her, right? He looked at me. He gave me a high five. Like, that's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I said, I was thinking to myself, this ain't no way this gonna come back and bite me in the butt, right? So fast forward a year, right? He's in the 8th grade and I think I'm in the 9th grade. So I think he was with me one day. We was standing outside and he was like, hey man, he said, I gotta get on your bus today. I'm like, what? I said, why are you getting on my bus? He said, oh, our bus broke down, so your bus driver has to drive us to our school and all that. I'm sitting there. He said, so this the day I get to meet Nicole, man. I'm like, I stood there. I'm like, oh no. I said, oh no. I said, I'm gonna get caught right here and there. I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh man. I said, dang it. I said, I gotta try to think of some lie if he talked to her or something. And I was sitting there and I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, man. I said, yeah. I said, just if you see her, I said, we've been kind of on the rocks lately. I said, so she probably won't talk to me. He was like, really? I'm like, yeah. I said, she probably might be on the rocks a little bit, man. So, because our relationship ain't been all that good, whatever, right? I was sitting there and we got on the bus. We was approaching her bus stop. I remember. I said, yeah, man, she looked a little mad. So just know that's why. He was like, okay. He said, you want me to help you in some type of way, man? I'm like, nah, bro. I said, don't do none of that. I said, because you just gonna make things worse. I was trying to cover my butt because I didn't want to get outed for what I was doing. So anyway, we pull up to the bus stop. I'm looking out the window. My heart, I swear to God, bro, my heart was racing in that moment. I remember. I'm sitting there looking out the window. I'm like, where's Nicole at? I'm looking. She ain't nowhere around. Yeah, excuse that noise upstairs. I got some kids above me that's just they running amok upstairs. They just stomping and running and stomping. But anyway, back to the story. I'm looking. I'm like, oh, thank God, because she wasn't there at the bus stop at all. Because the bus came and picked us up late. My mother, she had to go to work early that morning, so I could have skipped out and stayed home if I wanted to. But my mother she would have found out. I would have skipped out and stayed home playing the PlayStation. But I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, thank God. I said that could have went real bad. That could have went really, really, really bad, right? So fast forward a whole nother year. A summer passes. I'm in the 10th grade now, and he's in the 9th grade, I believe. So he's coming to our school and all that. Our friendship was kind of getting rocky again because he was doing some bull crap. He turned off my power in my house and he flicked it off. And I called him. And I said, man, don't make me have to, man, I will beat you up out here in this grass, man. He looked at me. My mama said, hey, y'all stop playing with the lights, whatever. So we ride the same bus. I wasn't thinking that he still knew Nicole, whatever, right? But this the thing about it. He had a best friend. I don't remember. Okay, there it is. I remember his name. I'm not gonna say his name, but I'm gonna give him a fake name. His fake name we're gonna use, his name is Bradley. Bradley and the dude that stayed over there in my apartments, I don't know, we just gonna call him Lava. Lava and Bradley were best friends in middle school. They came up to the high school, they were together. And I'm sitting there, right? We pull up to Nicole's bus stop and I look, I'm like, huh? I said, who is this dude with Nicole? And then Lava, he's sitting there beside me. He said, bro, that's my best friend right there. I'm like, yo, best friend? I said, Nicole? He was like, oh, that's Nicole right there? I'm like, huh? He was like, yeah, yo, ex-girlfriend. I'm sitting there, I'm like, ooh. I'm like, oh, shoot. I said, oh, man, I just brung that back up by accident. I sat there for a second, right? And he was like, no. He said that. He said, so my best friend is your ex-girlfriend's brother. I'm like, I said, oh my God. I said, what? I'm sitting there just, I'm scared to death because I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, I just brung this stuff up by accident. I was trying to let it die down before he got up to high school. I told him, yeah, we broke up, whatever. So when all of that happened, right, I told him, I'm like, oh, I said, oh, I didn't know that, man. And he was like, yeah. So I was sitting there thinking that he was gonna tell her like, hey, I heard you and Carlos used to date, whatever, right? Nicole, she a real sweet person, right? But she doesn't take that bull crap. She doesn't like people lying on her, basically. So anyway, fast forward a few months, right? Nicole, Leva, and Bradley, we all just sitting on the bus. Bradley is sitting beside Leva. They all sitting there talking and stuff, dapping it up and all that. And I get on the bus or whatever, right? I was getting late on the bus for some reason. And Nicole, I see her, I wave at her, right? She get on the bus, and then I get on the bus, and the bus is just parked. All of a sudden, I look at Leva. I'm like, "What's up, boy? What's up?" And he said, "What's up, man?" And then I'm walking back to the back of the bus. I did something stupid. I don't know what I did, but I was immature back in the day. And then Nicole looked at me. She said, "Boy, you better stop all that yelling." And I said, "What are you gonna do about it?" And then she stopped. She put her hand up in the air. Like, you know, when a mother puts it up, like, hold up, wait a minute. She said, hold up, what you been telling these little kids? And I looked at her. I stopped for a second. My brain was going. I'm like, I ain't been telling no one nothing. And everybody was looking at me. And then I stopped and thought, I'm like, oh my God. I said, he said something to her. He said something. I looked at him, and then he looked at me. I'm looking at him like, you little mother. Y'all know I don't cuss, but I'm like, you little mother. I'm like, no, he didn't just say something, man. I said, man, where Dre at? I'm about to go out there and beat him up. Cause she said, what, Dre? Boy, he gonna beat you up. I said, man, he took my Gatorade, man. I walked off the bus. I was standing over there next to him. I said, hey, man, I'm gonna stand out here beside you for a little bit. He was like, bro, for what, man? I said, because I said something going on the bus. He said, man, just get your punk back on the bus, bro. So I got back on the bus, right? So y'all know how bus seats are set up. I had a whole bus seat to myself. So you know what I did? I laid down the whole time on the bus, just laid there. And Nicole and all her friends were in the back. And I was just laying there, just sitting there, laying there. Cause I didn't want her to bring that bull crap back up. So this is what I did. Cause I was sitting there thinking, and she was eventually gonna ask me, what have you been telling them? So I was sitting there, I was faking like I was asleep until she got off the bus. So, so when it happened, right? She got off the bus. Actually, I had my backpack somewhere else. And she looked, she said, who backpack is this? And then Leva, he was up front. He said, oh, that's Carlos's backpack. She said, where he at? And then she looked, he said, he probably back there asleep somewhere. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, bro, Leva, stop. You just making it worse. So I was sitting there. God dang, did y'all see that police hit that car? Holy crap. That dude is dead in that car. But I said, dang, bro. I said, stop. You just making it worse. So I'm just sitting there, bro. My heart was beating. I promise y'all, my heart was beating to the high heavens. I heard her walking back there. She looked and she just threw my backpack right beside me. I'm like, so my bus stop came. My stop came, so I got off. And then what happened was he looked at me when we was walking to our apartments. He said, hey, man, he said, Nicole said I almost said her real name by accident. He said, hey, man, he said, Nicole was confused when she said y'all used to date, whatever. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, man, look, I said, she gonna do that, man, whatever, right? I said, because she ashamed of what we had, whatever. See, I should have just told him then and there, but I didn't know what he was gonna think about it, whatever, right? And I look back at it now, I should have just told him right then and there. Saying, man, I lied about that crap, man. I lied about it, but I just kept it going. I didn't. I tell y'all, I was a stupid kid back in the day. I was a stupid kid. So fast forward, I don't know. It was a few weeks or a few months later. We all on the bus. I'm acting up, doing me, whatever, right? And the bus was empty. Like it was at the back of the street over there near Lily Street. Everyone knows that stays over in this area know where that street is. So I remember this real well. I'm sitting at the back of the bus. My phone had died. I'm just sitting there just daydreaming. And all of a sudden I look, Nicole, she walked up past me. She did something. Oh no, I did something to her. Cause I still had kind of a crush on her. And then I looked at her and I'm like, hey. She said, boy, stop. And then I looked, our bus driver told her, hey, you need to come up here and sit down. And then she was like, he the one that caused it. I was here down in the seat, right? Like I said, I was being childish. I was super childish. And what happened was she went up there and then I raised back up just minding my business. I went back to daydreaming or whatever. All of a sudden, I looked at Labor. She was sitting right there behind him. And then I said, I doubt he gonna say something. Why, as soon as I said that in my head, he said, hey man, this is my sister Nicole right here. And then he turned around, he said, Nicole? He said, Nicole blank. I don't want to say her last name because she ain't give me like permission to use her name, whatever. So he said, wait a minute. He said, didn't you and Carlos used to date? And then she stood up. She said, nah, she looked at him. She said, no, we didn't used to date. Where's he at? What? She stood up. I seen her standing up. She turned around. I ducked right in the seat. I'm like, no, this. I said, this nigga didn't. I said, no, this nigga didn't. I'm sitting there. One girl was sitting behind me. She said, boy, what is wrong with you? She said, why are you laying down in the seat like that? I said, this nigga just lied on me. She said, who lied on you? There ain't nobody around us. I'm like, God dang it, girl, get off the bus. So she got off the bus, right? Well, the girl that was talking to me behind me, and she got off the bus. Her brother, Nicole's brother, did something to her to where she was like, boy, if you don't stop. She said, the bus driver told her, go back to the back of the bus because you seem to be getting in trouble today, right? She wasn't no troublemaker or nothing. She said, go to the back of the bus. I'm like, no. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my gosh, she gonna come back here. I was just curled up in the seat, just sitting there like, oh my God, bro, she gonna see me. Bro, I heard her footsteps walking to the back of the bus, right? I'm sitting there. I looked up because like I was just sitting there like head against the window. I knew she was gonna see me in the seat. I'm sitting there. She get to me. She look at me in the She looks at me. I'm sitting in the seat, laying in their seat. She looks at me. She said, what you been telling these little kids on this bus? I'm like, oh, look, man, look. She said, no, I don't want to hear none of that. You lying on me, this and that, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. I'm like, nah, man, nah. Right? Bruh, it was so embarrassing to me. It was so bad. I'm like, oh my God. It what made it worse too, when all of the bull crap happened, I looked up, everybody, it was like 4 or 5 people on the bus. Everyone looked back and looked at me and looked at her. I'm like, I laid my head on the window, right? And we were just sitting there. I was sitting there in silence for like 10, 20 minutes. And then she broke the silence. She said, you know, I hate liars and stuff, right? I looked at her. I said, I didn't say I dated you. I wanted to date you. I said, I didn't say that. I was sitting there. I was too shy to tell her that I had a crush on her and stuff, right? So when all of that happened, she got off the bus and she went on about her business and all that. And it was me and him got off the bus. I got off the bus. I wanted to punch him, but what does it look like me getting caught in a lie and wanting to punch him because he told the lie what I was telling? I wasn't thinking straight back then. So we getting off the bus. He said, hey man. So I'm like, man, just shut the F up, man. I just walked off. He was like, bro. He said, we ain't gonna talk. I said, no, we ain't gonna F and talk about it. He said, you just got me to F in trouble, man. I'm sitting there. He just looked. Hey, I walk on. I'm mad as crap. I walk in the house. I'm just sitting there, just laying in bed. I'm like, man. So a few days later, right? I go back over to his house and we just sitting there playing games. I'm like, yeah, man. He said, man, how come you just tell me you wasn't dating her? You just had a big crush on her? I'm like, bro. I said, man, It's just a simple fact. I want to date her, man. That's all the stuff I was thinking going over there, us sitting down at night and stuff. And all we just cuddled up, hugging up and stuff, just watching movies and stuff, this and that. He said, didn't you used to date that girl? I'm gonna say her real name. Nobody know who she is, but didn't you used to date that girl Malika on the bus? I'm like, bro. I said, don't you start this bull crap. He said, you said you dated someone. I'm like, no. I said, no. I said, no. I said, that is not her that you thinking that's on the bus, bro. He said, yes, it is. Yes, I'm gonna tell her tomorrow. I said, you little. I looked. I said, you little bastard. You better not tell her nothing. That is the wrong Malika. I said, I didn't. Now, for Nicole, I was lying about that, but for the other girl, no. No, it was another girl. She was in my grade. Now that one was like the one that rode our bus was maybe, I think she was a year or two younger than us. I'm like, you better not go on the bus telling no lies. I said, I swear to God, bro, I would get up and punch you in the nose. And then he looked at me and he said, man, you need to get out my house for threatening me. I said, all right, I'm gone then. I left. That was the last time we ever talked, I think. I think that was the last time we ever talked before he moved to Florida. So I don't know. It's don't put a lie on yourself. You know what I mean? Just tell the truth. And if y'all like someone, just tell them up front that you like them. Don't go the route I was going, lying to your friends, and then she finds out later on down the line. But hi Nicole, it's good to see you again. It was good taking this trip down memory lane, seeing all the bull crap I was into, getting you guys a little preview into my life. So this will be the end of the story time. This will be the end of the story time, everyone, and I will see everyone in the next video. Peace out, everyone.